about from a childhood memory of mine, which is eating Hong Kong-style crispy seafood noodles. And I remember jumping up and down in the bed, watching them pour the sauce over this sky-high tower of noodles and watch the noodles melt down. I don't even remember how good it was, but in my mind, it was super good because of that spectacle. And so when we were creating the pancits in Manam, and I realized that Pancit Palabok is really a local version of a seafood-driven noodle, I thought it'd be really fun to serve it that way. I'm Aba Napa, and our Filipino brand is called Manam, and I'm one of its founders and its creative director.
Ako si Bernardita Cruz Ignacio. Kung tawagin nila ako ay si Ate Net. Ito ang aming pansitan, ang Nanay's Pancit Malabon na nanggaling pa sa lola ko na si Macaria Cruz.
Ako ay si Margarita Cruz Carlos. I belong to a family that started Pancit ng taga Malabon year 1965.
Mga Chinese ang unang gumawa ng Pancit Malabon. At kasi meron ditong factory ng noodles. Lahat ng sahog ng Pancit Malabon ay madaling mabili sa palengke ng Malabon.
Malabon is Malabon Tambobong, now divided into two. Dati isa lang sila, ni-split ng Malabon at saka ang Nabotas. So the area talaga, it's a river between them. Ang dami doon ng seafoods. That's the hipon, the pusit, and the oyster. So they call it Pancit Bami. Since my great-grandfather is from Manila, from Tondo, doon niya napakilala sa mga kamag-anak niya yung Pancit Bami.
On the olden days, lahat ng mga leche kababaihan, kahit lalaki, marunong ng Pancit Malabon, marunong magluto. Kasi ito yung produkto namin na pag sinabing taga Malabon ka, hahanapan kanila ng Pancit Malabon. Every time na may birthday, syempre may Pancit Malabon. Tsaka nga yung lola ko, yung Macaria Cruz. Minsan, kahit walang okasyon, pamimeriendahin niya kami ng Pancit Malabon niya. So lumaki kami sa Pancit Malabon.
My uncle was a parish priest of Our Lady of the Abandoned Catholic Church here in Marikina. And he was one of the organizers, together with the mayor, to promote the shoe industry. So they decided to have a first shoe trade fair sa compound ng simbahan. Nakalimutan nila, wala silang hinandang pagkain para doon sa mga bibis at dadayo ng trade fair. So dali-dali nilang naisip na yung auntie ko, may home cooking specialty yan. Naisipan nila, nagtayo ng lamesa, niluto doon sa kusina, nidadala sa labas yung Pancit Bami. So parang yung mga tao, Pancit Bami, ang laman hipon, pusit, talaba, iklog, gulay. Ang alam nila, pag Bami is Chinese. So sila na rin ang nagpansag. Pinangalan nilang, total, you're from Malabon. Pangalan na lang natin, Pancit ng mga taga Malabon. So nagtayo na sila ng maliit na eatery. Ito yung maliit na eatery right after the Marikina Shoe Trade Fair. Ito ang si Auntie Rosa. Ito yung kapatid niya, si Father Jose Cruz. At ito ako. Pancit Malabon plays a very big part in my growing up years. Imagine, I was 4 years old then. I have no choice but to stay with them. Whole day in the business. From the market, to the preparation, to the cooking and serving.
Manam really started with my business partner's first ever Filipino restaurant. And it was in this amazing space, and she was about to close it. And me and John, because we're 3 business partners, went there on the last night before it closed. And I think we just fell in love with wanting to pay tribute to not just her very first Filipino restaurant, but also Filipino cuisine in general. And I think at that time, Filipino fare wasn't enjoying the limelight that it was today. And so we were really quite excited to recreate the dishes for the modern Filipino diner. And that's how it all started.
Nag-umpisa lang kami sa loob ng bahay namin. Yung isang tiyahing ko, nawalan siya ng trabaho kasi dressmaker. Ngayon, marunong naman siya magluto ng Pancit Malabon. Kaya yung isang auntie ko naman, na si Mrs. Milagros Corpus, pag may sa opisina, may okasyon, nagpapabili ng pancit. Ginagawa ng kapatid niya. So laging ganon na nagpapagawa na pati ang mga kapitbahay namin nagtanong na, ano yung ginagawa sa inyo, Pancit Malabon? Hanggang by word of mouth, nakilala na yung aming pansitan na wala pang pangalan nun, kundi Pancit sa loob ng Santo Rosario. Ngayon, may nagsabing, bakit hindi nyo itry na lumabas? Itong place na to, nakuha namin siya November 8, 1984. Nang binili lang namin, 2 table, 8 chairs. Ano namin, parang pan-take out lang eh. Pati yung mga kasangkapan namin, hindi kami nag-produce ng kasangkapan. Yung kung ano yung kasangkapan namin ginagamit sa loob ng bahay, yun din ang ginamit namin dito. So, nung nalaman ng mga tao na mayroong pansitan dito sa Canton ng Santo Rosario, unti-unti nang nalamang may. Pero marami ring pansitan pa nun dito, marami rin. Yung aming Mayor Lenden Oreta, nag-ano siya ng tricycle tour na itutur niya sa Lugawan, sa Pansitan, sa Crispy Pata, meron pa siyang sa Brojas. Yun ang kumbaga na ano kami, nakilala ang Pancit Malabon. Kasi dati, syempre, umiikot lang kami dito sa loob ng Malabon. Nung nagkaroon ng tricycle tour, yun, nalaman nila yung mga ganong kainan, mayroon pala sa Malabon. Kaya dumami ang nagpupunta rito.
Some of my favorite Filipino dish memories have been those cooked by home cooks that I've been fortunate to try from around the country. And I think what makes them different is really the care and the patience and the love that they put into cooking those dishes. I think it's very important how you decide to build your gisa or build your broth, because that's what really brings in the flavors for the pancit.
Time-consuming ang preparation niyan. Just to make the sauce, it will take you for a day. And just to get the flavor and the color of the annatto seeds, you have to soak it for 5 hours. So it's not that easy to prepare.
We really spend a lot of time working on that sauce that makes the palabok. We use a shrimp stock. We boil it down with shrimp heads and shells to bring out the flavors. We put in umami ingredients from tinapa flakes to pork. So I think those are the things that are important that can enhance Filipino fare.
Ito makikita nyo na ang aming kitchen, makikita mo na ang sangkap ng mga ginagamit namin sa Pancit Malabon. Ito yung noodles. Pag-deliver sa amin, ito siya. Ito rin yung binababad namin ng overnight. Ito ang meron. Kaya may oras yung pagbabad, pagpapakulo, kasi hindi pwede siyang malabsa. Kaya kami may ganito, minsan biglang may order na marami. Kung magpapakulo pa, medyo matagal. Kaya pwede naman yung ganito, half cook, tapos papakuloan siya uli. Ito yung yung mga sauce namin, pero lagi siyang nakasalang. Kumbaga iniinin siya.
So, dito tayo kung saan ito ang section ng Pancit Malabon. Ang ingredients na handito na yung sinasabi ko sa inyong sauce na ito ay talagang matagal gawin. Time-consuming, okay? So, nahandito na yung, after na na-mix yung sauce, syempre, kailangan mong tikman. Yung patis, paminta, kalamansi, at ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo, shrimp crackers na ginagamit namin. Ito yung pepper, fish sauce, calamansi juice, okay? So, ngayon, anuhin niya yung kanyang bihon. Yan yung hinahalo natin yung sauce na ayan yung sinasabi kong annatto seeds, okay? So, yun ang tunay na pagkukulay, walang artificial dyan. Okay? Ganon din sa flavoring, pati sa soup stock. Wala yung additives. Kung hindi talagang tunay na nanggaling sa bone marrow, yung with beef bones. Kaya talagang pwede sa mga hindi kumakain ng baboy. So, yung mga customers namin, yung mga Muslim kaming customer, dahil alam nila na talagang wala siyang halong baboy. Ito na yung shrimp crackers. So, nilagyan natin ng patis. Well, tansya-tansya na lang ha, kasi alam niyo naman, ang sinasabi nga, ang magaling na kusinera, hindi naman kailangan magsukat. Panghalo namin talaga, it's a chopstick. Kasi kung hindi, madudurog talaga yung bihon mo.
Ito na ang ating Pancit Malabon. Ngayon, ilalagay titikman muna natin. Kasi every time na nagtitimpla kami, kahit may standard kaming sukatan, tinitikman din namin. Kasi baka minsan nasosobra ang asim, nasosobra ang alat. Okay na siya. Siya na yung lasa. Ngayon, pwede na nating ilagay ito para makita nyo naman yung pagtatoppings.
Basically, Filipino cuisine was really born out of very straightforward and simple techniques and very straightforward ingredients. Filipino cuisine is less about changing it, recreating it, or innovating it, but more on taking care to choose the right techniques and the right quality of ingredients in order to make it.
As much as we can, we maintain the quality and the authenticity of the Pancit Malabon. Kaya talagang yung procedure is still the same. No shortcuts, no substitution. We don't use MSG. We don't use additives. We don't use artificial flavor or artificial coloring. Kung ano yung ginagawa noon, yun pa rin. It's more of making a difference in this kind of industry.
Pancit or noodles is really a blank canvas because it's like a complete meal in one dish, and it's got everything in it, right? Starch, protein, so there's so much components that you can play with, and also so many components that you can get carried away with. So it's really up to you to decide if you're going to make or break your own boundaries when you create pancit.
Araw-araw kumakain kami ng Pancit Malabon. This is our life, this is our business. So, kailangan talaga na kumakain kami, chine-check namin yung quality.
A great eating experience is not just about the taste of the food or the quality of the food, but it's also about the kind of service you give to the guest, and then it's also about the atmosphere. Our everyday cuisine is not very different from our celebratory cuisine. In a big fiesta, apart from the lechon, every other dish you find, you can probably cook on a normal day. It's really all about just enhancing and bringing out the best version of the dish.
Ang Pancit Malabon, ang unang-unang kasama niya is kamachile. Yan ang talagang partner ng Pancit Malabon on the olden days. Ngayon, nung nagkaroon ng turn of the century, ito na ang kapartner niya, puto. Ang puto naman, puto plain, tsaka puto pau. Ibig sabihin ng puto pau, yung may laman sa loob, may asado. Or ito, mas masarap din siya, yung putong bigas. Yan yung traditional na puto. May tamis ng konti, pero yan yung bigas, yung ginigiling na bigas. Yun yung putong talagang pinang-uulam sa sopa, sa dinuguan, yan yun.
Let's start with the classics. We have a pancit bihon over here. And it's got a lot of shrimp and chorizo in it for this one. We have Pancit Canton. And for the Pancit Canton, even though it's a classic, it's still a bit of a twist because we use two kinds of noodles, Canton and Sotanghon here. And then we've got our classic Pancit Palabok, of course. And then we've got the twist to our Pancit Canton, which is instead of the sahog being pork and tofu, we have everyone's favorite dish in Manam, sisig on top of that. So this is our Pancit Sisig. And then our twist to our classic Palabok is our crispy Pancit Palabok. For this crispy Pancit Palabok, we actually use glass noodles made from sweet potato because they puff up and fry the best. This is our Palabok sauce that we painstakingly make with boiled shrimp heads and shells. So there's a lot of flavor. There's a lot of umami also. There's pork here and tinapa flakes and tofu. And when we pour it on the noodles, it coats every single noodle and turns the crispy noodles into a nice melted gooey texture. Either we ask the guests if they want to have fun and mix it all themselves, or we'll mix it all for the guests to enjoy. You can hear the crunch of the glass noodles. And then it's nice, it turns softer. It's a mix of different textures, chewy and crunchy. Some people don't like to mix it so much because they like the crunch. Some people naman want to mix everything. So it's really up to you.
So, ito yung tunay na katangian ng Pancit Malabon. Dapat talaga mahaba. Okay? Hindi siya dapat putol-putol. At dapat dumidikit yung sauce sa noodles. At importante, kailangan sariwa talaga yung hipon. And even the squid, kailangan talaga masasabi mo siyang authentic kapag ang squid mo ay talagang yung ginagamit mo tunay na squid. Hindi yung nasa lata or hindi siya yung mumurahing klase, low quality ng squid. Yan ito yung Pancit Malabon sisig. Talagang it's full of pork sisig with chicharon and spicy. So talagang kung gusto mo ng indulging, ito yon. Kung gusto mo ng healthy, ito yung classic. Tsaka yung talagang tinarget namin doon is the millennials. Ayaw nila walang baboy. Kaya pag tinanong nila yung Pancit Classic na walang baboy, ay ayaw nila. So ang ginawa namin, pork sisig na merong pork skin chicharon at iklog at maanghang na suka. At would you believe, ang sarap pala ng combination. We started that mga 5 years ago. Ngayon, unti-unti, kinakagat na talaga ng mga kabataan.
I think it's really nice to be able to eat riffs on Filipino dishes that don't taste exactly the same as what you have at home. I realized that all three of us, Eli, John, and myself, in our own households, had riffs on the way we prepared Filipino dishes that were a little bit different from how they're classically prepared. And we realized that, those were our favorite dishes in our households. Food is more than just about nutrition and sustenance. It's really about entertaining oneself and bonding with your friends. A lot of people like to bring their foreign guests and their balikbayans here because they can find that range of dishes. And they can also find more interesting interpretations of those dishes for Filipinos themselves that are different from what they eat at home.
We have a branch in Mall of Asia na ang talaga nagpupunta doon mostly is balikbayans and foreigners. Alam mo naman mga younger group ngayon, lalo na yung mga foreigners, daring na sila. They want to try all the local food. Alam mo, Pancit, sikat na sa kanila yan eh. Kaya lang, iba-ibang version yan. Kasi kung saan kang lugar na probinsya, iba yung version ng presentation mo at lasa. Kasi makita nila, ano yung hipon? Squid. Ang squid namin talaga dito, mayroon pang ink. So, syempre, oops, alam lang nila, paella negra. Alam lang nila yon, di ba? Pero ito ilalagay sa noodles. And then they have a different color.
Presentation of dishes and how you serve them has become super important to how people want to enjoy food.
Alam naman natin ngayon yung henerasyon ngayon. Puro American food na lang ang nakikilala ng mga tao ngayon. Kaya kailangan tayong mga Pilipino, magtulong-tulong tayo. Ito isang kultura at isang tradisyon na dapat hindi mawawala at hindi makakalimutan. Kaya Kaya dapat as a early age, dapat pinapakain na natin itong mga batang to ng Pancit Malabon para lalaki sila na bahagi rin ng kultura at tradisyon nila yung Pancit Malabon.
Siyempre, biniyayaan kami ng Panginoon ng hanap buhay na hanggang ngayon, ginagawa pa namin. Maraming bagay, nakapagpaaral ng anak, medyo gumanda ang buhay, at higit sa lahat, nakakapag-serve ka sa kapwa mo sa Pancit Malabong tinitinda mo.
As long as we keep the tradition and the quality, palagay ko malayo mararating ng Pancit Malabon.
I think a lot of Filipino food is pretty perfect already, so you shouldn't mess with greatness also.